Impact on purpose. Change your home and your dome by following in Jesus' footsteps. I'm your host, VJ Tunkel. Let's get started. Hey guys, welcome back. Coming to you with a quick hitter today. This episode is 3 podcasts that you should listen to before listening to mine. Let's be honest, there are people that are way better than this, and there are people that I really looked up to in this area of encouraging and challenging people. And so these are my top 3 podcasts that you should listen to before ever listening to an episode of my podcast. Hands down. I would take one episode of theirs against one episode of mine any day. These are guys I look up to. I've read their books. I've talked to some of them personally, and it's been very cool to be a part of their ministry and to be encouraged and challenged by what they do. So here they are, and this is I guess I'll go in reverse order. Okay, so number 3 is the 5-Minute Fatherhood podcast. And I know you're thinking, well, I'm not a father, or I'm not even a guy. That's okay. These guys give such incredibly practical advice on parenting, on directing your family team, on leading your family, on kind of building your life towards setting up a legacy of family, but also such extremely practical tips on parenting for kids of all ages and for the little questions that, for me, I already have as a parent, and my daughter's not even 1 year old yet. So that's number 3, 5-Minute Fatherhood podcast. I'll post all these links below in the notes below, both on YouTube and on podcast. So I hope you check that out. Definitely worth a listen. Number 2 is Abraham's Wallet. Same genre. These are all kind of in the same genre. There's different formats. So Abraham's Wallet is such an encouraging thing. It sounds like it's probably about finance, but it's actually a two-hander. Sometimes they talk exclusively about the details of literal financial decisions, which is really good information to have. And yet, on the other hand, completely on the other hand, but still going together, they talk about your family and leading well and the directions that you should be heading in as a family. The importance of raising our kids. They taught me, I think the most important lesson that I learned in 2020 before having our baby, Karis, is the first year and the first child are both first fruit sacrifices. And that anything that doesn't feel like a sacrifice is a cherry on top of the experience. And so I went into my first year of being a father knowing that this year would be a sacrifice. And I have to tell you that mindset has brought me so much joy in raising my daughter. Through the challenging parts and through the amazing parts, it has brought me so much joy. So I'm so thankful to these guys. I owe them so much. They have really great resources. They started as a blog, so you should check that out too. We're actually going to talk about one of their resources in a later podcast. And the reason I've celebrated Passover and Sukkot is because of those 2 podcasts, 5-Minute Fatherhood and Abraham's Wallet. So very cool. Definitely recommend these 2 podcasts. And of course, number 1 is also, you're going to hear this ministry's name again later in another podcast, is Become Good Soil. So this is Morgan Snyder and his wife's podcast, and they are an offshoot of the Wild at Heart, Ransomed Heart Ministries. If you guys don't know them, I don't know. You need to know John Eldredge. He's a pretty amazing author and has had such an impact in my life. Beyond Wild at Heart, I know most people know that book, but this comes out of that, and it's written for adults, basically. It's written for believers who are desiring to mature and to go deeper, and the concept is to become good soil. It's that simple. It's our goal as believers to become good soil so that God can plant and water and harvest. They go deep into things that I need to listen to their episodes 3 or 4 times to even get to glean as much as I can from them. And I'm so thankful for what they do. I'm highly recommending that this is the podcast you go listen to. If you only listen to one podcast a week, stop everything else you're listening to and go listen to Become Good Soil, and you'll see what I mean. And they have incredibly impacted my life. They have podcasts that are from from the husband's perspective. They have podcasts from the wife's perspective. They have podcasts that are for the couple as a whole. They have podcasts that are for each one. Incredible, really incredible. And like I said, you'll hear this guy's name again in another podcast. All right, guys. So that's just me being straight with you. I'm not trying to conquer the world through this podcast. My goal is not to get as many listeners as possible. But that being said, if you like what you hear, please share our podcast. Please subscribe on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts or whatever you're listening to right now. And please give us a like, give us a rating, and shoot me an email at impactonpurposepodcast@gmail.com. All right, guys. Thanks.